My big takeaway here is now with AI coaching, the habit is no longer compliance and we're moving into embedded in the workflow of the reps. We're seeing weekly. We're going to get to daily, but we're seeing weekly habits now forming, especially with some of the companies that are high adopters. The other thing that's interesting here is a salesperson will they'll engage with the coaching agent for something. Maybe it's meeting prep, maybe it's a pitch, maybe it's for a customer story, whatever the thing that they're doing. Then they'll get feedback, and what do, Brett? They walk away. They internalize it. They go do it in real life for a while. Then they come back and they do it again. So
Mhm.
this is why I really like the 3 days between practice sessions is a super interesting. It shows me that we're changing behaviors. Welcome to today's live session, all about AI coaching agents. Specifically, we're going to dive into the insights, the use cases, and the impacts that we're seeing. Brett and I, we look at data a lot together, and he showed me some data, and I thought, oh my God, we got to share this data with the rest of the world. Before we dig in, Brett, I think it's so interesting. I think a lot of folks don't know you. You're our SVP of product and been with us for over 4 years. Again, congratulations on the 4 year anniversary.
Thank you.
Huge. And transformed our business, really helped us take our vision to the next level. But, as we talk about AI coaching and where the industry is at right now, like generative AI completely transformed the whole world of sales enablement, turned it upside down almost, but it's giving us so much goodness, right? Just think of the universe, everyone. There's too much content, there's too much training, there's too much data, there's too much CI data. Like, how is a salesperson supposed to know what to do, what to share? How is a marketer supposed to know what content to share? What coaching and guidance should we be giving our teams all the time, 24 by 7? And so I'm so excited about how we've embraced generative AI. And Brett, maybe take a minute or two, tell a bit about your story, why you joined SalesHood, and why are you so excited about the future of AI coaching?
Yep, Brett McBee-Wise, SVP of Product. It's good to be here. I was excited to join SalesHood because I feel like it was an exciting time in the industry, an exciting time at SalesHood around 2021. LLMs were just going mainstream, and I feel like that technology being available widely afforded some really compelling opportunities to fill some of the gaps and challenges that have kind of plagued the enablement space over the years. If you think about traditional training, it involves a lot of content, a lot of memorization. It didn't provide any great way to practice before you're at bat out in the field. And you really just doing some training and then hoping for the best, and then maybe giving some feedback after the fact. So I think, now we've got some amazing new technology that has really lit a fire in a lot of people's hearts and made it possible to scale, practicing before you take those at bats out in the field. So it's fantastic.
And you've really made a big difference here in the business, and love our partnership, love working with you. And just one quick announcement, everyone. Gartner they're going to release the Revenue Enablement Magic Quadrant. So the first time they're doing it, and it's amazing. Brett and his team put a lot of effort into it, and I'll announce it here. It's a pre-announcement. SalesHood is listed in the Leaders Quadrant, which is just huge. We're so excited. Can't wait to share the report. And really, one of the key things that we were recognized for was kind of our AI coaching. So, kind of why AI coaching? Why now? We did talk about it, but I really want to just kind of accentuate this a little bit and just say there are really three big benefits that we're seeing right now. First of all, when we think about AI coaching and we think about why now, AI coaching and the technology is at a point where we can truly deliver, like for real, personalized and adaptive, just in time, 24 by 7 coaching to each individual sales and customer facing person. Like, this has not been possible for before. And one of the big hurdles in enablement has always been the managers have to give feedback and enablement needs to give feedback. Boom. Salespeople can now just get the feedback, which is, I love it. And that's why I think AI coaching and some of the kind of the really big takeaways. The other one is much better buyer seller alignment. And what we mean by that is with AI coaching, we can provide the just-in-time personalized and adaptive coaching, but we can also bridge the gap between buyer needs and buyer. So having an AI coach, not just in training, but also having it be there for you in real time inside of your digital selling motion is so critical. And then finally, training is no longer, so here's one of the big punchlines from our data. Train, and we've got deep, deep, deep data. So trust me, just be patient. What we've seen with the data is the AI coaching and AI coaching, the benefits of AI coaching is transforming enablement and training from being episodic. So the data is going to prove it. We've gone from training being quarterly and event-based to being just in time, daily, weekly, and you'll see some data on that. Brett, anything to add here? I know you shared your story, but what are some of the big points for you around kind of why AI coaching and why now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I mentioned, the ability to practice your at bats, making sure that you're ready to have those conversations instead of, wasting that opportunity out in the field and in a non-judgmental way, getting that feedback that you would have gotten from managers, I think is really important. And then also the fact that this thing's on 24 hours a day, it's always ready, always willing, always enthusiastic to give you feedback. That really provides that opportunity to get that just-in-time, enablement that everybody needs to build that confidence.
And so here's the punchline, folks. AI coaching isn't just a science experiment. It isn't just something that we will hopefully do and maybe see benefits. I think out of all of the AI use cases in the world right now, when you look at coaching and you look at the benefits that it can deliver to organizations and their go-to-markets, we are seeing some dramatic lifts. And so here are three examples. Cybersecurity company, these are our customers, right? These are some of our heavy, heavy, heavy adopters of the AI coaching, of AI pitch practice, AI role playing. And so managers are saving time, right? This is a huge benefit to organizations, right? A, they can improve the ratios of the managers to reps, and B, managers can spend less time on the repetitive kind of administrative coaching, and they can spend more time on strategy and pipe development. They can take the inputs from the AI and they can apply it directly to accounts and deals. And you can see the use cases down below there, demo delivery, technical storytelling. That's like very real, very, very real benefits. The middle company is a DevOps company. Look at their use cases. They're doing pitch, they're doing demo practice, discovery, objection handling. And what they're seeing, some of their benefits is the productivity is improving. Meetings are getting booked after 2 weeks of onboarding versus 60 days and 90 days. So a dramatic reduction in time to productivity. And then a fintech company, they're seeing lifts in pipeline conversions. And they're kind of 5x, kind of practice. They're practicing their pre-meetings at least 5 times a week, and they're seeing their conversions dramatically improve as well. So I just thought, Brett, we would just kind of share just some of the punchline impacts first, and now we're going to dig into the data. Any other kind of story anecdotes you have from customers in terms of
Yeah, I mean, I think, one thing that I think surprised me, surprised my team, and I think surprised several of our customers was, the original thesis was, I'm going to use something like this to really fill the gap, in getting that manager feedback that I'm not getting. I'm not getting that manager participation. And when they actually rolled this out, the opposite happened. Managers actually wanted to be more engaged, which I don't think they were expecting. I think that's mostly because they got so much good feedback from their teams and how useful, the training was. And I think they just saw the potential, and also it just saved them a lot of time. So then they wanted to be involved in, crafting the next iteration of the training and really help define, the scenarios that the AI coaching is helping work with their teams on.
here's what we're going to cover today. That was some of the intro. Wanted you all to just get to know Brett a little bit more, kind of do a little bit of the context of the industry, what's happening, and all that good stuff. But we're gonna dive deep into the top use cases. So we're gonna go deep onto the programs and program design and AI prompt design, so you can get a better sense of what are some of the best practices around program iteration. We're gonna dive into rep engagement insights. We're gonna look at coaching effectiveness insights. We're going to talk about the specific quantifiable impacts that you can take away and ultimately work with your executive team to kind of help you kind of build a case. if AI coaching is new, or help you build a case if you need to get a greater adoption in your organizations. And I love this. Brett and I came up with a way for you to benchmark how you're doing against the best top performing companies in the industry. And so that'll be at the end here. So here we go. Here's the data, folks. Wanted you to appreciate the methodology and the data set. So this is 2025 data, 34,922 uh, AI coaching submissions across 1,000 unique coaching agents, but 8,000 reps participated, 45 companies. This doesn't represent all of our customers. This is a subset of the customers. We looked at the ones that had leaned into it. This programs represented about 400 programs. I love this, 3.5 million words of coaching feedback. And again, this was in 25, so for 9 months this year. So I just want folks to appreciate. So statistically, like we're there, right? There's a good data set here where we can now draw some conclusions. So now we're going to get into the data. So number one, what are some of the most common AI coaching use cases that our customers are building today? And again, this is our way to contribute back. We want to inspire, we want to really help evangelize, but ultimately we want to help lift the entire industry. And this is why we're sharing our data. So you can see the percentages here. We've got pitch practice, we've got sales execution, and we're going to drill down on sales execution in a moment. But pitch practice, sales execution, demo practice, discovery skills, and objection handling, you can see the percentages there. Again, this is across all 35,000. And my big observation here is we are starting to see AI coaching across the buyer journey. And over the last 2 plus 3 years, really the focus has been on pitch practice, but now we're seeing folks move into more complex scenarios, trying to tackle bigger sales issues. I even saw a coaching prompt one of our customers did to help reps practice give-get negotiation tactics. So, Brett, what would you add about the use cases?
Yeah, I mean, I think just that the trend behind these numbers isn't immediately obvious, but it kind of mirrors the way the tech is evolving in the industry. We started with kind of simpler problems, simple call and response, so like pitch practice and getting feedback. And as the tech has evolved to, really create very frighteningly realistic simulated conversations, we're able to, tackle and I think the enablement folks out there who are on the bleeding edge there are able to tackle some of these harder problems like objection handling, doing discovery and connecting, the answers that you're getting from discovery to delivering outstanding customer stories, for example. So I think, some of those early stage problems were first in the funnel, and now we're seeing some of those mid to late stage problems being tackled as the tech is changing, which is interesting.
I think that's such a great point. All right, let's look at the next one. So now on we're going to go deeper on the sales execution one. And so I'm here at the 20%. So now we're going to click in. So top 5 AI coaching agents for sales execution. So here's where we could dig into the types of AI coaching that's being applied to non-pitch use cases: executive presence and storytelling, negotiations, value prop and communications, competitive positioning, and closing and urgency creation. You can see that. So it's pretty evenly split, Brett. I think the storytelling is super interesting, and the executive presence in terms of how people are building coaching agents to kind of focus in on these skills. But these are advanced skills that now we're seeing the shift away from a traditional pitch practice for elevator pitch, and we're moving into some actual skills that are going to, dramatically lift productivity. What are your observations when you look at this slide, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that 30% for executive presence and storytelling, I think that is, that's that ability to really own the delivery of the company pitch and connect it to the information that you're getting in discovery, and then tell, an authentic story, deliver a customer story that is compelling and contextually relevant to who you're talking to. And so I think it kind of speaks to
Yeah.
the ability for uh, you to practice and really get better at kind of thinking and thinking on your feet and connecting the information you're getting in real time to the story that you're trying to tell.
I think storytelling is a perfect use case for AI coaching because you'll get quick, instant feedback on how effective you are as a storyteller. And it's kind of the marriage between clear communications, storytelling, knowing the story, knowing kind of how to tell a story, the story framework. And so another good takeaway, folks, if you're thinking about skills that will lend itself to applying the AI coaching technology, like and see immediate lifts, this should give you a stack ranking. Get the storytelling. Managers and VPs of sales and CROs want more negotiations. They want to make sure folks are really good with the give get. And then kind of the ROI is super interesting here. And then competitive positioning and then closing skills, I think will be increasingly so. Well, we're going to keep going. Let me see any questions. Thank you for the comment. I think Amy, who's on the chat, is one of the early adopters of the AI role playing and one of the early pioneers in enablement, for that matter. And we'll make sure that everyone gets access to her interview as well in her webinar. It's phenomenal. And all right, let's keep going. I'm going to go a little further, Brett, because we've got a lot of data to cover.
Mhm.
So now let's talk a little bit about, if those are some of the use cases and the themes and the skills and competencies, let's talk about how AI coaching is helping roll out programs. And our data, when we looked across 35,000 coaching submissions and we looked across 1,000 agents, our data shows that now organizations are rolling out programs 3 times faster. And they're specifically accelerating program build out from 4 to 6 weeks to 1 to 2 weeks. And we can see this data from the coaching prompts, in the scenarios and the trial and error that people are doing in the system. And Brett, you've also created for everyone an AI role play assistant. So the enablement folks we're basically using AI coaching to coach on the coaching assistants. I know that's super meta, but maybe
An agent for your agent.
an agent for your agent, right? But maybe you could talk a little bit about how you're seeing prompt design evolve and how you're seeing that's impacting program rollouts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I think these numbers are accelerating too. We're seeing it happen even faster. When we first kind of released our AI coaching capabilities, it was great. And I think one half of the equation to getting a program out there quickly is just the sheer fact that, there's relatively low effort and the reward is really high, right? So you put something like this out there and everybody can get consistent feedback and get consistent results. You're not waiting for manager participation. But to take that a step further, we've been working on and have released a kind of a preliminary version of a role play agent that helps our customers create their agent. If creating a good prompt is a little bit of an art and a science, and to cut down on the cycles and the time it takes to get the one out there that really nails it the first time, that role play agent can, take a deck. You can spend 15 minutes kind of describing the scenario that you want to create, and then you can nail it the first time instead of, having to take a few days to do some prompt iteration
Mm.
yourself and kind of nail the use case.
Hey, Brett, why do you think, like we're running our customer conference in a few weeks, November 12th. Half of
Mhm.
the day, half of the conference is going to be focused on AI prompt design, specifically around AI coaching. It's
Mhm.
because this is how important it is in the organization, in the industry. We want to help raise the AI literacy in go-to-market teams. Why do you think getting the prompts right, you're building everything you can in the tech to make it real easy, but why do you think it's still hard for folks?
I think, just getting used to this idea that, well, first of all, I think a lot of folks don't really know that there is an agent to help them, or that they can use AI to help them create something that is AI. So I think there's a little bit of a knowledge
Sure.
gap there. I think there's a little bit of writer's block, just sort of getting off the pedestal and really dipping your toe in the pool and really getting an idea out there, getting pen to paper and really coming up with thinking and giving yourself the time to think about what's the application for something like this at your organization is half the battle. So I think between those two things and just it feeling um, a little bit threatening, a little bit intimidating, I guess is a better word.
Yeah.
I think some folks are a little bit hesitant to go for it. And so I think, part of my job is to help our customers get there faster and not feel like it's so difficult to use something like this. And we can productize a lot of that, but some of that's just education as well and taking the time to work with folks.
We're so early innings here, everyone. I know We're in the World Series zone right now, and yes, go Blue Jays. I know we are early innings right now, and I think when we think about kind of how much the industry is going to evolve, I recently read a book by Reid Hoffman called Super Agency. And I recommend it to everyone because as we're leading the way here, we need to lean into kind of agents the most. We need to be applying it to all the use cases as quickly as we can to A, to realize the benefits, and B, to kind of push the technology in the direction that's going to deliver value. And just folks, when you think about the word agent and agency, what it really means is we're giving salespeople more agency on their skills, on their productivity, because we're giving them a coach that they can talk to, get feedback from without having to ask the manager for help, without having to join a boot camp, right? We're giving managers more agency on the performance of their teams by giving them coaching summaries, right? We're giving enablement people more agency on driving. So that word agency, I really connected with it after I read the book Super Agency. That's a small plug for the book. I encourage everyone to read it, but we're going to go deeper in the data. So again, I'm kudos to all the enablers in our community who have worked through and really built this out the way that we're thinking about it and doing it with us, working with Brett's team, working with our agents, and achieving these great results, right? Like I think it's so interesting that enablers are going into the system. They're setting up these agents, they're testing them, they're getting feedback, they're doing it 3 to 4 times, they're using our agent, they're testing it, and they're going from like creation to launch with 6 or 7 iterative tests in a matter of hours. And so they can actually launch programs same day. And by the way, this is going to get faster, and I don't want to give too much on the roadmap, but super excited. So now let's talk about behavior a little bit. Let's talk about rep behavior. And really, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to help the world transform the cadence and the culture of their teams. So we want to help each of you lift up your organization's go-to-market kind of speed and accelerate and go-to-market faster and lift up the culture, right? Lift up the culture because we talk about building a coaching culture, but like, how do we actually know we have a coaching culture? And so we looked at the data, again, 35,000 overall submissions. You kind of average them across the 9 months, and average submissions per rep per month is about 5. So, okay. Time between practicing, I'm just going to walk through the data and then I'm going to unpack the data a little bit because it's super interesting. Time between practicing is 3 days. Then there's 45% of reps are practicing more than once. 15% are practicing more than 4 times. And now with AI coaching, the average rep participation is about 70%. So let me unpack a little some of my observations, and then Brett, you can add your commentary as well. So first, my big takeaway here is now with AI coaching, the habit is no longer compliance, and we're moving into embedded in the workflow of the reps. We're seeing weekly. We're going to get to daily, but we're seeing weekly habits now forming, especially with some of the companies that are high adopters. The other thing that's interesting here is a salesperson will they'll engage with the coaching agent for something. Maybe it's meeting prep, maybe it's a pitch, maybe it's for a customer story, whatever the thing that they're doing. Then they'll get feedback, and what do, Brett? They walk away. They internalize it. They go do it in real life for a while. Then they come back and they do it again. So
Mhm.
this is why I really like the 3 days between practice sessions is a super interesting. It shows me that we're changing behaviors. Let me pause there, Brett. Any comments on from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, when I what I see when I look at this data, I look at this data daily. I'm a data nerd, and when I look at this data, there's something that's not on this slide, which is that you can see the amount of time that reps are spending with one of these coaches is increasing, and it's increasing pretty on average pretty quickly. And so when I see that, and I see the way that these use cases are, how the use cases are evolving, and I look at the ways that our customers are using it, that tells me that it's shifting from, there's always a subset of customers that were on the bleeding edge right from the beginning that were using this type of capability for sort of evergreen or everboarding use cases.
Yeah.
But that's becoming a generally accepted practice at this point. And you can kind of feel that and see that in the data with the types of programs that are being put out there. It's no longer, I've got this one problem, I need to do one training, tackle something, and then, maybe I'll do something else in, a couple of quarters. There's a widespread adoption of it as a constant practice mechanism for teams, which is interesting.
No, it's great. I think we are truly seeing the shift from episodic training activities, the kickoffs, the quarterly events to we're in a weekly zone right now based on the data. And I think as the technology improves, as there's greater adoption, as we apply AI coaching agents across the entire buyer journey, as we get more engagement with managers, I think this is going to shift directly to daily. So how often are reps practicing with an AI coach? So when we look across all of our customers, I think 20% are doing it 1 to 2 times per week. 45% 1 to 2 times per month, and then about 35% are doing it 1 to 2 times a quarter. I just wanted to throw this out there. I think if we are going to aspire to deliver coaching just in time to our sales teams, we're going to want to get to 1 to 2 times per day, ideally, but let's get everyone kind of moving in the power users bucket. And those groups, it's truly part of the workflow, and they're leveraging it for more than just pitch practice. They're doing it for deal prep, demo prep, and clearly on onboarding. So yeah, no, I love this slide. I love seeing the different buckets of customers. What do you think, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, we had the early adopters. I think, we can really feel that mid-tier user bucket growing quickly, and it's increasing daily.
Yes. Now let's look at the feedback themes. Okay. How are we doing, right? Anecdotally, we know that salespeople in general struggle with like driving urgency, communicating value. We know salespeople struggle with next steps. We know we struggle with them, and with them not being empathetic or asking great questions or listening enough, Brett. Like these are just general things in B2B software that we've struggled with.
Mhm.
Pretty interesting when you look at 3.5 million words. Folks are not clear. We need folks to be clearer, be concise, use, not filler words. Things 94% of people get feedback from AI that says, you know what, you got to simplify and sharpen your message. You got to make your pitch concise, and you got to be more structured and benefit oriented, right? So boom. I think value articulation, that 87% of people when they submitted a pitch or did a demo practice, whatever these are across all AI coaching use cases, that they were not doing a good job connecting kind of the solution and the products that they are communicating with outcomes. How many of you struggle with that, right? It's kind of common, right? It's good to see that the AI is there, but at least now there's this safe place where salespeople are getting feedback, and it's not their manager or not the product manager or not the enablement person. It's AI's telling them, like, hey, dude, you've got to like, you're not talking value, right? What happened to the outcomes here? And
Mhm.
okay, you're right. And then they go back and they'll try it again. And we've got some cool data on kind of the skill improvement over time. Next steps. This kills me. Like, how come we get to meetings and we're forgetting to talk about next steps? 70% of salespeople are not communicating next steps when they're doing pitch, demo, and all these different coaching use cases. Empathy. So AI is encouraging additional empathy, emotional intelligence, showing curiosity. I think that's lacking in a lot of the coaching submissions that have happened. The what else? And then structure, coaching on the following frameworks. I think a lot of organizations, when they set up coaching, they're also incorporating their process, their methodology. And it's a challenge for someone when they're doing a role play or they're doing a pitch practice to kind of reference back to a structured formula that is the methodology or the way that an organization is expecting their team. So it's super interesting when you look at these coaching themes, and I loved it that we were able to look at all these different coaching themes across a pretty wide net of words that were shared. And Brett, I'm just curious, top challenges. What else do we add here? Anything else on your end?
Well, no, but I think, what I think is compelling about this is I think if you talk to anybody at any organization, I think no one's surprised about the things that are on here because, anyone can kind of feel, they sort of have a feeling or they understand what their teams need to work on. But I think AI coaching, making it possible for you to quantify that and then really move towards a solution, I think is what is compelling. And so, there's a lot of feedback being given by these AI agents. And at least what I'm seeing is that our customers are now shifting from being thankful about just the ability to identify these problems and really shifting towards more of a focus and wanting a more compelling way to control the way the feedback is delivered in a way that's authentic to their organization. And so for example, we've had to do a lot of work to allow our customers to control or sort of train the feedback in a way that's contextually relevant to their business. And we'll kind of continue to do that. But that's kind of how I'm seeing it evolve here, which is interesting.
So does it really work? Does it really work? Now we've got the data that shows when organizations are doing the coaching and they're running coaching programs, we are working with our customers and we can see the correlation to lifts in productivity, improvements in conversion rate. But at a skill level, what we did was at the we looked at the reps that were practicing more than once and we wanted to see are their scores getting better. And look at this. 38% increase in attempts from the first attempt to the fourth attempt. So they're doing more because they're getting value, they're getting the feedback, and they're getting better, right, Brett? This is pretty cool.
Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Our recommendation to all of you today, especially those of you who haven't started, don't get bogged down on all the use cases. Look into your business, find a very specific problem you want to solve. Find a very specific revenue problem. Maybe you want to improve conversions from stage 1 to stage 2. Maybe you want to improve stage 4 to stage 5. Maybe you want to generate pipeline. Maybe you want to, whatever that specific KPI is that is the most important for your executive team right now, then build an AI coaching agent around that, solve that problem, build the momentum in the organization, and then layer on top additional ones, right? Because these are the benefits. We promise you, you're going to be able to roll out programs faster. That's a promise. And we've got the proof. Your managers are going to save, we did the math, about 24 hours per month. Just internalize that number for a second. We looked across all the customers that are currently doing this. We looked at the number of attempts. We looked at the number of sessions, did the calculations based on the ratios. And so does it mean that you're going to have less managers? No. But does it mean that managers can now use the data and apply it to deal reviews, account reviews, pipeline building activities? Absolutely. If I don't have to coach, if I'm a manager, I don't have to coach my rep on that intro pitch every time they get on a call, or I don't have to coach them on kind of the demo and they can just have an AI to do it, then we can focus on strategy. I love that. 24 hours per month, Fred. It's pretty awesome. Reps are converting. Reps are 40% faster and becoming more productive, whether it's an SDR that can book meetings faster or whether it's an AE that's creating opties faster. But those early time to ramp productivity measures are getting 40% faster with an AI coach. Rep participation is increasing. The coaching quality is improving with the skills improving by 38%, and we're seeing 5x more improvement in pipeline. And our friend John, right? SalesHood's AI coaching helps our teams ramp faster, stay aligned on messaging, and spend more time selling, all while easing the load on managers, right? So just some good quantifiable benefits here for all of you. Any other benefits, Brett, that you want to touch on?
I mean, I think what this data says to me is that it's a technology that is beloved by everybody who's involved with touching it, right? It's enablers are able to bring fast time to value. Reps love doing it because it's meaningful to them. Managers love it because it's saving them time, and then it shows up in the bottom line. It affects the business almost immediately. And so, when I look at something like this, I think, why not? I think this is a perfect, compelling case to be more proactive with the problems that you're trying to solve. And we can feel that, and we can feel that from our customers as the product team. I can tell you that the number one type of request that we get with regards to wanting more functionality, wanting more innovation has to do with this type of AI coaching functionality. And so I think it's pretty clear that it's become the kind of the cornerstone of the enablement strategy for a lot of folks moving forward. And so it's pretty
No,
exciting.
it's great.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said, Brett. It's loved by all. Reps love it. because it helps them be more productive, gives them a safe place to practice. Managers love it, gives them time back, and they can focus on the strategics. Enablers love it, they can do more with less, right? And then the go-to-market loves it because now they've got an engine that they can scale and go faster. So CEOs love it because like now they know with confidence. Anyway, the list goes on and on and on and on. I keep going. All right. So what's coming in the future? The road ahead. I think we've seen the data show us that, we're really living right now mostly in top of the funnel. When we look at all the coaching agents that have been built, pitch practice, first call decks, demo practice, meeting prep, technical demo prep. Like these are front of the funnel, top of the funnel, storytelling, front of the funnel activities. And I'm really excited. We're seeing glimmers of these come forward, right? So we're seeing deep objection handling, we're seeing negotiations, we're seeing closing skills, we're seeing even customer success leaning into it with adoption stories, ROI drivers, exec alignment, executive presence. So I think we're gonna start seeing a more, I don't know, how do I say it, Brett? We're going to see more adoption and usage across the entire buyer journey.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think, what's happening is, as the tech is evolving, as the use cases that our customers are tackling are becoming more complex, that's kind of forcing us to, I don't know, give the AI more and deeper context to your business, right? In order to kind of fulfill those challenges. And so, you'll continue to see the tech kind of evolve in that way. And that's easy for us to do because we're the system of record for training revenue teams. But once we have that, it's really going to shift to, making how can we make this AI coaching agent that can tackle all of these use cases more ubiquitous? How can we bring it closer to reps where they are, meet them where they are, not just in structured training, so that it's there all the time when they need it. So that's how
Absolutely.
that's going to evolve.
I love it. Brett, amazing. What a great session, everyone. We're not done. I want to just land here for a couple of minutes because the data is great and we'll make sure everyone gets the report. But now you want to start asking yourself, well, that was a lot of data. That was a lot of data. How do we compare? I know 62% of you, haven't really started, but we wanted to just have, we're creating an AI coaching maturity model that is going to look across adoption, cadence, manager enablement, skill coverage, and culture. And that's skill coverage and competencies, and culture, right? And so how many reps are participating? The best of the best, you get 85% participation. How often and regular do reps practice? The best of the best. 1 to 2 right now, 1 to 2 coaching sessions per week. We're not yet at 1 to 2 per day. I believe we're going to get there. And I know Brett's working on some amazing agentic AGI for sales innovations that are going to make it real easy for reps to want to practice, like a few times a day. And we're going to get there. Do managers reinforce AI right now? What we're seeing, 70% of managers are leveraging the AI in their one-on-ones, in their forecast calls, in their deal reviews. What is the breadth of scenarios across the buyer journey? The best of the best are covering 3 stages in the buyer's journey. So even the best aren't covering the whole buyer journey, Brett, right? And then how embedded culture is in the work. How do you know how embedded is coaching in the workflow, in your culture? And basically, if 45% of your people are doing more than one, that's a sign that you've got AI, you've got coaching embedded in your culture. We are here to support you. So this data, the data which is hot off the press, Brett and I have just almost finished reviewing all of the data. We didn't want to wait, so we're going to turn it into an industry report. We're going to make it available publicly for everyone, so you'll get a copy of it. The video recording will be available, early next week, and the industry report soon after that. But we welcome you to benchmark your team's performance. And so we can guide you through that process. We've got a deeper scorecard that we can help you roll out to your teams and get that feedback. And listen, 62% of you have not yet engaged and built out AI coaching. Let's do a demo. So my team and I, we'd love to walk you through kind of the power of AI coaching, show it to you. We'll have a follow-on AI coaching demo for anyone that is interested. And then we want to just invite you to build your own AI coaching. Be like Amy, be like John, be like these amazing enablers who are leaning in and transforming their go-to-markets. And we'll work with you. Our team will work with you because it is a new skill set, like Brett said. And we've got agents to help you build agents. We've got a customer success team that's world renowned. We're here to support you. And ultimately, we're here to support you build a high performing coaching culture. So, Brett, any last words?
No, I mean, I think if you're here because you've already leaned into this technology, I hope this information gives you some good ideas for what you're going to do next. If you haven't yet, I hope this gives you some compelling reasons and some good ideas on how to get started. So,
Well, everyone, I want to say thank you again. Thank you very much for joining us today on this amazing AI coaching, hot off the press session on AI coaching agents, and the insights, the use cases, and the impacts of that's happening right now in real time in 2025. Thank you very much. We're here to support you. Down below, there are links to a demo request for AI coaching. There are links to the industry study. There are links to all these amazing resources. So on behalf of Brett and I in SalesHood, thank you very much, and looking forward to helping you be more productive.